Hello, everyone. My name is Quentin Lister, and I am talking today with Kristy Grass, licensed associate marriage and family therapist. And we are going to talk today about the emotional reaction people have after getting divorced and how that impacts them and their lives. And if they have kids, how that impacts their lives as well, and what they can do to receive support in that. In particularly, what women can do to receive support as they're going through that process. But before we get started on that, I wanted to give Kristy the opportunity here to give her name and contact information for those who were watching who would like to get in contact with her afterwards. So, Kristy.
Yeah, thanks. I'm really glad to be here. It's an awesome opportunity to talk about something that I'm very passionate about. I am, like you said, Kristy, and I work at two different locations. I work at Utah Family Therapy and Sunrise Women's Health in Mapleton. One is in American Fork and one is in Mapleton. And to contact me, you can reach me at Kristy at utahfamilytherapy.com or Kristy at sunrisewomenshealth.com. Those are two ways to get in contact with me if you'd like to schedule an appointment.
Thank you. All right, awesome. And so, Kristy, we would like you to share a little bit about your experience. And I guess one question I had was, so in your experience, how, when you're talking about the emotional reaction that those going through divorce have, what exactly, as far as the adverse effects, what do you see and how does that impact their lives? And if they have kids, how does it impact the lives of their children?
Yeah, great question. I think that when you become a unit and you get married, I think sometimes people will lose parts of themselves and become the unit rather than an individual. And so when that unit is lost, I see a lot of people suffering from that loss in general, the grief that comes after, the pain, there's just a lot of emotions tied with that, and finding themselves again throughout that process can be a journey.
Right. Right. And so talk a little bit more. I want to know a little bit more about, like, when you talk about unit versus individual, and so how people sometimes get lost in the unit. And so, like, is that like you see it, like sometimes people get so caught up in like trying to be part of the family that they don't take time to develop themselves who they are? Is that kind of what
Yeah,
you're getting
yeah,
at?
yeah. They oftentimes I see like they lose interest in things that they were interested in before because they um, are very much tied to what their partner thinks and what their partner feels, and they lose themselves that way. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Um, and so when that unit is no longer, they have to find themselves again and get back into the things that they were interested in before the partnership. And I see a lot of people struggling with that, and mental health plays into that big time, just because it's a lot for someone to go through. One of my clients explained it as like when they were divorced, they explained it as their heart just felt like it shattered into a million pieces, and they couldn't find those pieces. They were just scattered all over. It was like broken glass. And each time they picked up a piece, it hurt. And so I think that that's a really great analogy for a lot of things, not just with divorce, but how to put those pieces back together and without it causing so much pain is really hard.
It's all right. We had a little bit of background noise that had to die down a little bit, and so that's why it's the. So please excuse the sudden cut here in the interview, those watching at home. But Kristy, I had a question for you, and so when you're talking, what have you seen specifically that has helped those who are having trouble connecting with themselves and who they are outside of a marriage or outside of a unit, as you're saying? What methods have you seen have worked best for them in discovering them, not discovering, but finding themselves again.
Yeah.
Which are, I guess, finding and discovering the same thing, but you know what I mean.
Anyway. I gotcha. I think that, again, I'm biased because I'm a therapist, but I have seen how therapy can really help transform people's lives. I think even if you're not struggling, I think therapy is awesome, and it can help so much with people trying to get in touch with who they are. And I also think that it's really important to be part of the community, finding resources within the community, and also doing self-care, and finding out what self-care works for you. Self-care is very personal, I feel like, and it can look different for everyone. And so I think finding the things that bring you back to you, if that makes sense.
Right. And so, and then just me, I'm just curious about maybe like one, like a specific example, like for instance, like maybe it's like I was really for some reason, soccer comes to mind. I don't know why. You can tell me if this is an example what you're talking about as well. Like say like someone was really into soccer before their marriage, but then through the course of their marriage, they kind of put that love of soccer aside or whatever. Would that like trying to get involved in something like that again? Would that be an example of what you're talking about? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And finding those pieces that who you were before the marriage, and reconnecting with those. I have seen that being really powerful for people who are struggling with the aftermath of a divorce.
Yeah. Well, one other question I had before we wrapped up today was, you mentioned kind of like sometimes how in our discussion beforehand, you were talking about how sometimes the children can be the ones who end up taking some of maybe the anger or hurt feelings from a divorce, and just because the parent is hurting or grieving or whatever, and so they take it out on the children. And so what kind of suggestions do you have to people who may want to they want to work on that relationship with their kids just to make sure they're not taking out whatever hurt feelings they have from their divorce on their kids? What kind of things have you seen help there? I guess
boundaries. I think that's like an answer for everything. Just knowing that kids should be kids. They have these awesome, like a divorce is not going to be the end of the world for them. How you respond to it can change how they respond to it. And so what I see most of the time is one parent will say, well, my husband or my wife or my spouse, they do this, and this, and they'll talk badly about their partner in front of the kids. And then the kids have a very difficult time understanding what that is about. It's almost like the kids become the therapist, and they go to comfort their parents when the kids are the ones who need comforting. And so avoiding that would look like talking to somebody else, talking to a friend, talking to a therapist, talking to someone else regarding those emotions towards your partner, rather than your kids.
Right. And so that way it doesn't kind of taint that relationship. And so, and then one thing I could see from there is like, it might be difficult to even be aware that you're taking, like, I don't know, I feel like self-awareness would be kind of critical to that. Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's, again, I think that's why it's important to like find yourself after the divorce, and know who you are outside of the unit so that the kids can have an opportunity to find out who they are with the divorce. It models that behavior.
All right. No, thank you. Thank you for those answers, and thank you for your time today. We'll have to wrap up here, but Once again, I've been speaking with Kristy Grass, and Kristy, if you'd like to give your contact information or the best way to get a hold of you for those who would like to talk with you more after viewing this, would you please give that one more time?
So you can email me at Kristy@utahfamilytherapy.com or Kristy@sunrisewomenshealth.com. And again, Utah Family Therapy is in American Fork and Sunrise Women's Health is in Mapleton. So if that helps people who are in the South or the North, hopefully it can reach everyone.
Sure. No. Thank you so much, Kristy. And
yeah.
all right, that's it for us today. Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it.